hello everybody, how you all doing? Okay, if there's something that I've learned from making all those videos, that we shouldn't take anything for granted. And in fact, the more I realized we shouldn't take anything for granted, the more I looked at our own society and realized how crazy we are. Here's the thing. I watched this article talking about the IDF having a crazy rescue mission to rescue animals.
The idea is to show people that we are the mouth, eyes, and ears of the animals. It's our role to help them be where they're supposed to be in the wild.
That's crazy. They're going into a hostile environment where they can be shot at, risking themselves, risking their many others involved in the operation, to rescue animals because of their being abused.
This is a moral issue beyond just ecology. This is a military operation in every sense. We're deep in a hostile Palestinian population that could wake up from the heavy presence and turn on the forces. Any small mistake could escalate the event.
Why is it crazy? First of all, I was thinking, well, if it wasn't crazy, then it would be the obvious thing to do. And if it's the obvious thing to do, why isn't the environment they're in taking care of that? Why is it that the IDF has to go in and rescue those animals and not the Palestinian Authority?
The goal, to rescue dozens of animals that became an attraction at an improvised zoo in Palestinian Authority territory.
So there is a chance that this is an area that is badly controlled. But I'm sure the local population could have done something, at least say, hey, that's not cool, and don't bring your children to this obviously abusive zoo that is illegal for entertainment.
But on the way to fun, the animals are subjected to severe abuse and kept illegally.
Just don't cooperate with it. So that's one. Second, actually after that I was thinking, if we're rescuing animals that are being abused in the Palestinian Authority, should we also rescue the woman from there? My second thought was okay, we've decided to risk soldiers who are proudly doing so, and they're super happy to do so, and they have support to rescue animals. Where does it come from? The Bible, as always, and Jewish sources. Derived from that is also the Christian morality and ethics that a lot of us grew up with, not realizing that it should not at all be taken for granted, and that there are cultures where animal abuse is why would you even care? It's not there, it's not in their DNA to even care about it. Before I actually start the video, I want to say comment, subscribe, and share this video. Please do consider supporting this channel. That means a lot. I cannot do this without your support. I have several links below for PayPal, Buy Me Coffee, Patreon, and also you can get super chats here on YouTube as well. A super chat, super thanks, whatever button. Check it out. That really is an engine needs fuel, and that is the fuel that keeps me going because I convert it to food usually. Yeah, so anyway, all right, let's dive into this craziness that was this operation. This is an article made by Can 11. It's gonna be just the visuals, and it's dubbed because they use music, which I don't know if it's gonna be copyrighted or not.
This is an event with a crazy number of people involved. That's why the rules of engagement are ultra strict.
So first of all, before they go in, you can see that they are getting instructions on how to behave and how to react.
Only if you identify someone shooting at you with a green headband of Islamic Jihad do you return fire.
So evenly, if they see actual green band, actual headband that says this is Islamic Jihad shooting at you, then they're allowed to react, right? So they're undercover in a hostile environment where the culture there actually kind of allows you to shoot randomly. So
this is the largest operation ever. Dozens of soldiers, police officers, and inspectors from a Nature and Parks Authority, some undercover. 3 a.m. at a base near the separation fence.
They really need to know that this is an operation of the type where you're not exactly supposed to engage with local residents. So only if it's obviously terrorists are they allowed to react.
This operation is no different from anything else we do. For me, this is about showing governance in an area that's usually a lawless zone.
So this makes it even riskier, right? It's not like an operation that is 100% classic.
At 4:30 a.m., the signal was given. Now go in, Aaron. The military force breaches.
Even though in the end, spoiler alert, when there is one kind of felony, you're going to find others. Surprise, surprise.
Within minutes of entering the compound, a sad scene is revealed. In the pirate zoo, among other things, are several specimens of Israel's largest nocturnal bird of prey, the Eurasian eagle owl, in cages that resemble dungeons. Outside, the owl is king of the night. Here, it suffers terribly. And here you can see falcons. There are falcons in a cage, in substandard conditions. Next to them, a pair of hornbills, a tropical bird that was smuggled in. These are species that typically do not breed in captivity, which means they necessarily came from the wild. They're taken as chicks. Nearby, a pair of hyenas that fell victim to Palestinian traps, ostriches, monkeys, porcupines, a camel, dogs, fawns, gazelles, land tortoises, aquatic turtles that were kept outside of water. More and more animals, living in severe overcrowding, neglect, and abuse.
Okay, so the part where they found tortoise or turtles, which ones live in water, the tortoise or the turtles? Anyway, those who were supposed to be in water were not in water. That's how beautifully, carefully the animals were treated in that zoo that they had created.
How frustrating is this struggle? Very frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. It's infuriating. It hurts me deeply. I see the animals, I see the monkeys, I see the condition of these fawns, and it's just neglect. It's animal cruelty. This is not a way to keep animals.
So this concept, there is a concept in Judaism called Tzar Baalei Chaim, where you're supposed to treat animals with care, right? Not cause them suffering that is unnecessary. Yes, we do obviously have to end animals' life to eat it, but everything around Judaism really is very meticulous about making sure that the animal won't panic and that the death will be quick and that everything would be as humane as possible, and that sometimes in life you have to do some things that are necessary evil, which one of them is eating and killing animals, but never should you inflict suffering that is more than the real necessity. There are rules like when you go and about to do the deed, the animal is not supposed to see what's happening, right? So they cannot see that you're holding a knife. So you need to do it in a way that the animal doesn't see it.
For us, the people working with us day in and day out, who want to see them running in the wild, it's very hard to witness. Right now, we're focused on action. We'll do the best we can. Gradually, carefully, trying to reduce the stress, dozens of animals are removed from the cages. I'm going to bring a cage for them. I have one in the car. A very complex operation. First, there are a lot of animals here. Some of the animals are large, also dangerous, and require sedation, so we don't remove them in a way that might cause them to hurt themselves.
Another thing that is mentioned here is the TikTok trend that displayed a lot of animals and was running around in social media. So through that, they actually managed to locate and rescue animals as well.
Lately, illegal trade and possession of animals has been making headlines. Monkeys and lion cubs have become TikTok stars.
And the Israelis, of course, the way they reacted was if they manage to smuggle in lions, what else do they manage to smuggle in? It's kind of scary.
Illegal wildlife trade is the third largest in the world after drugs and weapons. We're seeing the full extent of animal seizures in recent times. We're working in full cooperation with the Nature and Parks Authority and conducting operations to stop poachers engaging in illegal hunting and holding illegal weapons. This phenomenon is gaining momentum. A lot of people in this region are involved in illegal hunting, harming these animals.
Judaism is kind of averse to hunting, and hunting as a sport is a definitely big no-no. So you're not allowed to hunt for sports in Judaism.
Recently, a special covert unit began operating in Judea and Samaria to handle illegal trade and hunting. We're doing everything we can to eradicate illegal hunting, possession, abuse, and trade of protected nature assets, of protected wildlife. How complex is it to carry out such an operation? There's complexity. This is a large operation. It's a bit unusual. Like I said, there are a lot of animals kept in extremely poor conditions.
I want to take it to a different place for a second, which is not really different, but like I said, I didn't realize when you grow up in a culture, you don't realize how different it is than other cultures. I grew up believing that halal, like the way that our Muslims do that, right? Slaughter animals, is similar to the way it's done in Judaism. And I was surprised when I realized it's not. It's actually very different, and that it doesn't have the same rules when it comes to not causing harm or unnecessary pain to animals. It doesn't have that. I didn't dive into exactly how they perform it. I'm not the kind of person that would want to know that necessarily. Like I don't, and like it's in the realm of I wouldn't enjoy reading that. I don't really want to talk about it. I just understand that it's not the same. It's just different. And here's the thing, like the reason I thought that, I grew up in Israel, obviously. I never seen halal sign in my life. And I only saw it here. I only saw it in Europe, right? When I say like halal, halal. And I thought, like, I remember looking at that, like traveling in Europe, like a long time ago, or wherever, seeing halal signs and realizing, okay. And then I was thinking, wait, I've never seen it in Israel. So the reason is that basically, I think in the Quran, sorry if I'm quoting wrong, but basically, here is how I remember it. If you see a Jew eating something, then it's halal. I know now that there are movements that had, like in Islam, that actually started fighting that and saying, no, you have to have halal specifically, and you cannot just eat kosher things or whatever Jews eat as something that is halal. But I don't think it's true here. I think they only bother doing it kosher, and then it applies for everyone. So I didn't grow up seeing that. So this is, I guess, why I assumed the slaughter would be similar, and it's not. It's actually not. It's not. I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, it's different.
The scope of forces in this operation is truly unprecedented. There's been a huge investment, in terms of preparation, in terms of intelligence, but the problem is the day after, when the criminals reach the courts. The punishment is extremely light. Sentences usually reach up to 6 months in prison, in very rare cases slightly more, with fines usually amounting to just a few thousand shekels. That's where it ends. Those who live this lifestyle usually return to it, and I say this with sadness, the punishment isn't strong enough. Weapons were also found at the site. 3 of the site's workers were arrested. Yalla, come on. As the sun rose over Samaria, a long convoy of animals headed into Israeli territory.
And with the animals, of course, they found stashes of illegal weapons. Because why not? And they took them and confiscated them as well. But unfortunately, this is what they say in the end. When they finally get to court, they barely get any punishment that would deter them from repeating those crimes and offenses. And obviously, nobody in the world would care about them, right? I'm sure that all those animal and like eco, whatever, how is it called? Like all those brave soldiers who fight global warming, which I'm guessing is similar to the kind of people who would fight for animals. Maybe it's not exactly the same group, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being stereotypical here. Like, tell me in the comments, do you think those who fight for animal rights are the same who fight for global warming? Again, against it, actually. Oh, speaking of fighting for global warming. So I grew up in a town in Israel that is not too far from the beach, but that it didn't have a beach. So we had a petition when I was younger that said, like, we are for global warming. We want to bring the sea to our town. I was like, yay, global warming. We want to have a beach in the town. And I don't know if I pronounce beach like beach distinctively enough from the other option. Anyway, the one you go to tan and swim. Anyway, yeah. Great sense of humor my town folks had.
Some were sent for testing at the safari, others to zoos. What will become of them? Some of these animals have been imprinted, meaning they've gotten used to humans, and it will be very difficult for them to return to nature. Even so, since we're talking about Israeli wildlife, we're making the effort to return them to the wild. Those that will need to remain in zoos or other suitable facilities, with proper care conditions, we'll place them there. The operation was deemed a success. The forces returned safely. Dozens of animals are finally receiving proper care and rehabilitation.
Please check out my videos talking about the protest. There, I talk about how the judiciary system in Israel is dysfunctioning, to say the least. And now, of course, there is this battle going on between the government and the judiciary, where the judiciary is trying, really seriously with all their might to stop the government from achieving and accomplishing anything, honestly. And they do it out of spite because they are pathetic losers who took over a system. And anyway, those are different videos I recommend you guys watching. So I think one of them is dubbed The Enemies Within.
But given the lenient sentencing, the likelihood that this phenomenon will disappear is very low. Even dozens of operations like this won't dry out the swamp of animal abuse and the shrinking of our natural world.
Anyway, yeah, so they're getting caught, and basically, the court system in Israel sucks. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Now I want to dive in to the sources where this is where the motivation and the craziness that is taken for, I don't know, do you think it should be taken for granted? Is this something that you can imagine your country doing? I mean, I guess it's something that the police does a lot in most of the countries, not necessarily the army. So it does make sense, I think. But I want to talk about the sources that brought about this kind of mindset where people are rescuing animals like that. Please share similar things in your cultures, Hinduism, Buddhism. I know Islam doesn't have anything to do with rights for anyone or anything. All right, so I think I should start with the fact that it was helping animals that belonged to an enemy. And here we have the quote, כי תראה חמור שונאך רובץ תחת מסעו וחדלת מעזוב לו ועזוב תעזוב עמו. If you see the donkey of your enemy lying under its burden and you would refrain from helping it, you should surely help with him. Now, it's unclear what it means. And later in the Talmud, it actually explained what the meaning is here. So basically, if you see that your enemy's donkey is suffering because of the way and what they carry, you're supposed to take part of it, unload the donkey and go with it. So that is one. So it's basically saying if you see an animal suffering, even if it's your enemy's animal, you have to help it. לא תראה את חמור אחיך או שורו נופלים בדרך והתעלמת מהם, הקם תקים עמו. You shall not see your brother's donkey or ox fallen on the way and ignore them. You shall surely help him lift them up. By the way, that's not literally a brother. That's a fellow human being here, not like literally like brother. Anyway, that is just, I'm saying if it's not your enemy, it's your brother. So you have both options covered. And that the Talmud also elaborates that even in Sabbath, right, you can rescue an animal. So even with all the restrictions that apply on the Sabbath, you can still help an animal, even if it means breaking the Sabbath. יודע צדיק נפש בהמתו ורחמי רשעים אכזרי. A righteous person regards the life of their animal, but the compassion of the wicked is cruel. Basically, help animals. It's cruel not to help them. By the way, another mitzvah that is interesting and has to do with animals, you're supposed to feed your animal before you feed yourself. So if there isn't enough food, you're supposed to give your animals food. I don't know where it comes from, but I guess it makes sense that if something is productive, producing something, like usually animals are, whether they help at work or something like that, then you should treat it properly for the benefit of the community as well. So I think more than, yes, it's the right thing to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if it also makes sense if you only look at the world as like in a more utilitarian kind of lens. So here's what I had to say, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I think it was fun to make. So that's it. We're in the end. Like, comment, subscribe, and like I said before, share this video. And if you guys could support me, I would really appreciate it. There are links below: Patreon, PayPal, Buy Me Coffee. Super thanks. Everything goes. This is what keeps me going, and I need that. I really do. And thank you so much for being here, and see you later, everybody.